Hello, Days Our Lives fans. This is Tuesday, April the 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. So, Kristen goes over to visit Brady to check in on him. He's like, what do you want? Is this about Rachel? He's like done with her too. And she's like, no, I'm here to check if there's any news on your dad. And she told him what EJ did to her mom. And they were very supportive of each other. And then, she left. Well, Jada decides to go on and tell Rafe the truth. And at first, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. Okay, so the guy that Marlena and Patch found that they thought was John is not John. It's a nuclear scientist, Dr. Carl somebody. But he was able to tell them before he dropped off dead, because he'd been shot for trying to protect John, that they took John and the nuclear weapon to the same place. So they send Paul back to try to get information out of Orpheus, while they stay and go through some files. But of course, dumb ass Andrew, and I've been watching him, he's just not a very good ISA agent. He turns his back on Orpheus and he gets loose, and so when he turns around, Orpheus got a gun on him. He's like, I'm gonna have to take care of this unless you call them and tell them I ran away and so I can get a clean getaway. And he's like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. And he's like, well, I don't have any choice then. So he actually had the gun cocked to shoot him, and Paul walked in and shot Orpheus. It looks like a shot. He shot him in his hand, and he's like, tell me what rosebud means. And he's like, I don't know. It doesn't mean nothing to me. So he wasn't going to he's not going to give him any information. And he said, I want to know where my father is. And he's like, you're just like your dad. You don't have the guts to shoot me. And I mean, Paul was wanting to blow him away. And Andrew kept saying, no, calm down. And of course, John is already dead by this point. So Jada decides to tell Rafe the truth. First she told him she slept with someone. And of course, like anybody else, he wanted to know who, friend or foe. And she told him it was Sean. We were both in a bad place. He was upset about Belle, and you had left me at the altar and, slept with the stripper and dug up dirt on me. And he's like, that's not me. And she's like, but I didn't know that, Rafe. I didn't know that. You can't blame me for this. I didn't know. I've been through hell. I can't stand her anymore. She's ruined everybody's lives because of her own little turmoil. Johnny and Chanel, because of her and Gabby, they can't get the baby. It's just a bunch of crap. So he's like, okay, but you've been lying to me for weeks, Jada. When was you going to tell me? I'm telling you now. And he's like, that's not good enough, Jada. And she's like, but I didn't know. It wasn't you. I was not supposed to know. And he said, why didn't you know, Jada? If you knew me, you knew I would never get in any kind of work thing with EJ Demera of all people. And I slept with a stripper? Come on, Jada. That's not me. That's not my character. Why didn't you know that? Is that the kind of person you think I am? This is a problem, Jada. And he told her, he doesn't know if he just needs some time away from her. And she's like, please, is there anything I can do to work this out? And he said, I don't think so, Jada. I need some time away from alone. And he just left her, so, and she's just crying. I'm glad she's getting it back at her. All she cares about is herself. She don't care who else's lives she ruins because of her stupid little... She should have left EJ alone in the first place, man. She did. She caused him to lose his job. She got what she deserved. Suck it up, sister. So Belle pops over to EJ. She's wearing a wire. She's going to try to trick him. And she's so fake from the beginning. He's like, what are you doing here, Belle? And she's like, because I missed you. And she told him some bunch of bull. So she walks in and there he is. And you can tell by his expression, he knows she's up to something. That's the impression you get. And of course he does. So she's in there saying, I overreacted before because he said, yeah, the last time I seen you, you made it clear you didn't want anything to do with me and this and that. And she said, well, I overreacted and I just need to know that we can trust each other. And if you can just admit to me, what you did to Jada and Rafe, then I can trust you and we can move on. And he's like, really? And she's like, yeah, I just, I just can't go on thinking I worry that you're going to hurt somebody else that I love. And, it's just so obvious. Talk about a piss poor acting job. Of course, she was supposed to be acting in this thing. So he told her, and he's like, starts to unbutton her dress or something. She's like, well, first you have to admit to me that you kidnapped Rafe. And then he bent over and talked like in her bra and said, well, it's your lucky day. I did absolutely nothing to that man. And then he braced back and he said, so it looks like you wore a wire for nothing. EJ, that's not what's going on here. I'm not wearing a wire. He said, really? Prove me wrong. Take off your dress, Belle. And of course, she didn't, because she is wearing a wire. And he's like, no matter what you do, I'm always going to be in your head. And she said, I'll see about that. So she was mad that he busted her. He was too smart for her. And right there, that's where he was leaning over saying, I absolutely did nothing to that man. So, she's got her butt in a knot, and it serves Jada and them right. So she stomps off because she's all bent out of shape. And then as soon as she gets home, she just rips off that wire and throws it down. And that's a wrap for today, Tuesday. Please like, subscribe, and share.